I'm standing in front of the town of Palm Beach Police Department, and I'm about to go in with some volunteers from the shul to deliver lunch to about 30 police officers who are working right now on 9/11. 19 years ago on this day, we witnessed the horrific attacks on the Twin Towers, on the Pentagon, and on other flights over Pennsylvania, as 3,000 Americans, men, women, and children perished in a terror attack committed against our country. And 19 years later, we remember the heroes, the firefighters and the police officers who risked their lives, and many of them perished as well, trying to save others. This week's Torah portion has two very powerful words. Moshe Rabbeinu says to the Jewish people, "See, I've placed before you today, Almighty God has placed before you a blessing or a curse, life or death. Ubacharta b'chayim. May you always choose life." As Jews, we always celebrate and embrace life. But what did Moshe Rabbeinu mean when he said you should choose life? Was he just saying you shouldn't choose death? Was he just saying don't take your life, God forbid? Was he saying choose life, but isn't life automatic? We live instinctively? Do we have to make a choice to live? And the answer is perhaps threefold. You know, in English there are two words, living and existing. You ever heard the expression, go get a life? What do you mean go get a life? I already have a life. And the answer is there's a fine distinction between living and existing. Existing means you're taking up space. Everything in this world, a tree, a rock, fire, water, a book on a shelf, exists. It takes up space. But existing just means that you exist. You are a being. Living is what you do with that existence. The impact, the effect, the contribution that your existence makes. That's what living is. When we say to someone, go get a life, we know they have an existence. The question is, what contribution, what purpose are they serving with their existence? And so Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't say choose existence. Existence is automatic. Nobody wants to end their existence. It's human nature to want to stay in existence. But to live is a choice, meaning to make an impact, to make a difference as a result of your existence. That's a choice. Now, for some things, their existence is not a choice. So, for example, fire has a purpose. It creates light. It creates warmth. It doesn't have to choose to have a life. Water cools things off or makes things grow. It doesn't choose. It's automatically. Even a stone has a life, because if you build a house out of straw, it's not firm. If you build it out of stone, it's fortified and strong. So the existence of inanimate objects is tied into its living, to its life. But for human beings, it's a choice. And that's why Moshe says you have to decide to choose life. You have to choose to make a difference, to have an impact. And sometimes even our existence is contradictory to our existence. In other words, if I have a big house and I'm all on my own, I have a lot of space, a lot of comfort, my existence is very expansive. But if I invite people in to eat with me and to enjoy life with me in my house, my existence, my physical space is compromised, but my living is now expanded. And so Moshe says when your existence, which is what you need, is in conflict with your living, which is what you need it for, always choose life, because life is not about existing, but it's about living. Another example is the Jewish people. The existence of the Jewish people has always been challenged. We've always been a small nation scattered around the world, persecuted. Yet all the mighty nations that existed are gone, and we're still here. How is that? And the answer is the Jewish people never focused on existence. We focused on living. And when you're so busy living, you don't worry about your existence. Just like when someone is very preoccupied with doing things that are positive, like a doctor who's working 36-hour shifts, saving lives during a pandemic, they're so busy living that they forget to eat meals, or they don't even need to sleep because their adrenaline is rushing because they're so busy living. And that's Moshe Rabbeinu's lesson. Ubacharta b'chayim, always choose living over existence. Don't just exist, use your existence for a purpose. But the greatest example today on 9/11 of choosing life over death is in the morning the terrorists chose death. They chose to be a curse on humanity. And the firefighters and the police officers chose to be a blessing they chose life. And they even forfeited their existence for the sake of choosing life. And so the lesson for each and every one of us is, let us always be inspired by this week's Torah portion by Moshe Rabbeinu message to choose life every day, to have a positive impact. And even at the expense of our existence, we should choose life. The last thing that happened on 9/11 is that thousands and thousands of phone calls were made by people in burning towers and on airplanes and in the Pentagon saying their last words to their loved ones, to their spouses, to their parents, to their children, to their brothers and sisters. And we have recorded messages of thousands of people who left their last messages on earth to their loved ones. And they all said the same three words: I love you. Even as their existence was coming to an end, they chose life. They chose to spread love. They chose the meaning of their existence, which is to love one another. Let us remember that every day. Existence may not be a choice. We're here. Our choice is, as Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Ubacharta b'chaim," may you choose life. Today we're bringing lunch to all the police officers and firefighters in the town of Palm Beach to say thank you for showing such courage and bravery, and for being an example every day of what it means to choose life, even at the expense of personal existence. How can we ever thank enough and honor enough our police officers and our firefighters who are ready every day to run into burning buildings or into the line of fire to protect and to save each and every one of us? Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of the courageous firefighters and police officers. And may the memory of the thousands of Americans who perished be remembered forever for their sacrifice and for our renewed determination to always choose life over death, blessings over curse. Shabbat Shalom.